It is day 22 on the Camino Francés, breaking it down with the help of Google Earth Pro, supplemental material to the vlog series that I shot in 2017, 3 years ago. Today, we are done with La Meseta. Yes, we're getting to Astorga, and up ahead is Galicia. But before we go over today's stage, let's go over the Camino de Santiago as a whole, so that by the time you guys get there, you know it like the back of your hands. The Camino de Santiago de Compostela, or the Camino Francés, stretches about 800 kilometers from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port all the way to Santiago de Compostela. The lucky ones go an extra 100 kilometers to either Muxia or Fisterra. I highly recommend you do both if you have the time, of course. Now, as you make your way westbound across northern Spain, you go through different autonomous regions and provinces, and we start with the province of Navarra, followed by the tiny one, the wine region of La Rioja, and then we enter the massive Castilla y León. Within Castilla y León, you go through 3 different provinces, as that is the province of Burgos, followed by Palencia, and finally León, where we are right now. After Castilla y León, we have Galicia. Now within Galicia, we have Lugo, and finally A Coruña. Here's today's stage. We're gonna break it down with the help of the elevation profile. We are done with the plains of La Meseta, and 50% of today's stage is just a nice down slope decline before we have to go over a couple of hills up ahead. We're gonna be gaining about 170 meters of elevation gain. Not too bad. And finally, it's a nice descent to Astorga, and the last couple of blocks to the city center. We're just climbing all the way up. Now the day started at 6 o'clock in the morning when I woke up. The night before, most of the pilgrims were in the bar having drinks, and when I woke up, they were just sound asleep. There was a 30% chance of rain for today, so I just wanted to hit the road and try to get to Astorga before the rain would catch up with me. Tío Pepe, the albergue where I was staying, they offer breakfast at 7 o'clock, but I left the albergue at 6:30 in the morning. I was the first one to open the door and just head out. The sun hadn't come out yet, so I was just walking in the darkness of the town, the small village, where as I was making my way out past this Cruzeiro here and this supermarket, water fountain in this corner, and the pilgrim statue before you enter the road that we're going to be following for at least 25% of the way. It's just a straight road with very little traffic. I mean, it was super early in the morning. I remember seeing a couple of cats here, I guess they were here just to say goodbye to me. There's a couple of towns in front of me, and the second one is the one where I'm going to be having breakfast. Now, as I was making my way out, following this backcountry road next to irrigation canals and agricultural fields, this is where I put one of the flowers in my ear, and I saw the sunrise. I just love seeing the sunrises on the Camino. It is something that I miss here. You know, when I'm back in the cities, I don't wake up that early in the morning. Walk past the 300-kilometer stone marker to Santiago. Saw a snail, and I think it was 3 cars that passed me by in the time period of about an hour. So no traffic. You are walking on the road. There's no shoulder or very little shoulder, but nothing to worry about. It was 7:50 in the morning when I made it to the first town, La Milla del Páramo. Nothing here. At least I did not see any signs or didn't see anything on my guidebook telling me that there was a bar there. So I decided to continue on walking. Here you leave like the main road behind and you start following like a dirt path. I saw a tractor pass me by, and I tried my luck once again, unsuccessful, at the rock stacking here on top of a stone marker. If you saw yesterday's episode, I was looking for a feather, like a stork's feather, and I found one here on the side of the path. I also saw a stork fly by. And I saw a pilgrim that was riding in a bicycle, an older gentleman. He passed me by in this stretch. By now, we're at the 25% of the way, and I was just starving. It was 8:22 in the morning. I like to have breakfast the minute I wake up. Like my uncle, for example, he just has like a cafe, and then once he hits the road, a few hours down the line, that's when he has breakfast. So everybody has their own ritual, I guess. Made it to the town of Villavantes at 8:30 in the morning, starving, and here I did see a sign point to an albergue that has a bar. If you don't want to go into the town, you can still follow the main road. The only thing is that you have to cross the train tracks. They don't have a bridge, they don't have a crossing, just go over it, but it's just, not a big deal. If you do go into the town, they have a small bridge here where you just go over it. So made it to the Albergue of Santa Lucia, and I had for the first time on the trip a ham and cheese croissant with a café con leche and an orange juice. I enjoyed it out here facing this small plaza where they have 2 water fountains. The one on this corner, I did fill up my Camelback and my half-a-liter bottle that I was carrying with me before continuing on through the town. They have a bar here in this corner. Don't remember it being open when I passed by. And right here is Iglesia Virgen de las Candelas, facing a UFO-shaped water tower in this town that is very eye-catching. Now, this church is from the 17th century, and they have an annual bell ringing festival on the first Sunday of August. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when I made my way over the railroad tracks over this bridge. I was flying the drone. I wanted to see the train, but it was a tractor that passed me by instead. You get to walk by the train tracks on the shoulder. They have plenty of room. As you trail the train tracks for a little bit, they have Molino Galocha on this corner over here. Kind of like a B&B, I guess. I got to walk over the train tracks for a little bit. I wanted to get the shot of my legs just dangling over the train tracks before leaving it behind and following this dirt path where I saw a tiny snail, as I've seen so many on the Camino. I think I mentioned before that instead of the scallop shell, the snail should be the symbol for pilgrims. Go over this main highway, and here there's another split on the roads. Did not know about it. It's just tiny. I guess if you don't want to go into the town, you can make a left turn here and follow the main highway to Astorga, but all the arrows just kept insisting that you go forward, that you go to Puente de Orbigo. You walk by a small factory here, nothing too big, nothing major, before you go by this roundabout, and then up ahead is the juncture between this variant that I was following and the official Camino. We remember yesterday we detoured from it. And here, right next to this massive water tower and this water fountain here, is where the two merge once again. I saw pilgrims coming from that direction. There's an information deck here. And you just follow the road until you make it to Puente de Orbigo, small town with Iglesia Nuestra Señora de la Purificación, before you get to Rio Orbigo and the massive Puente de Orbigo over here from the 13th century with 19 arches, one of the best preserved medieval bridges in Spain. This was the site of a legendary jousting tournament in 1434. I got to fly the drone here as I was making my way across. Remember seeing pilgrims here in Hostal de Suero de Quiñones. They were just having a snack, looking at all the pilgrims pass by. And then you enter the small town of Hospital de Orbigo. So you have Puente de Orbigo and Hospital de Orbigo on this side. In this plaza here, Cruzeiro, an information deck right in front of Parroquia de San Juan Bautista. And not far from there, as you make your way past a few albergues, you make it to another split on the road. Now here, if you keep going straight, you're gonna join the main road all the way to Astorga. I guess that split that we just passed by will rejoin this one. This is a shorter section, but of course you're walking next to a busy road. I highly recommend you take the detour here on the right hand side. It's probably a little bit longer, but well worth it. You got a couple of things along the way that you don't want to miss. It was already 10:30 in the morning, halfway of the day for today, so you can stay in Hospital de Orbigo if you like to just do a small, like 15-kilometer stage, and then on the next day you make it to Astorga. Even though I was following my guidebook, you can break it up however you like. Now here, you're still walking agricultural fields, it's still flat. Up ahead is the mountains. You're still walking by irrigation canals, and I saw a couple of frogs here in the pond, and I think it was like a rat or something, I don't know. And not far from there, I bump into Maria and her playful dog, Maria. She's a Spaniard that lives in the village up ahead. She worked, I think, for like 30 years in Madrid and then decided to retire here because she loves mountains so much. So she goes for strolls in the hills almost every day. So made it to Villares de Orbigo. And here I was looking for something to eat. I wanted to secure lunch because I think this is the last town before you make it to Astorga. And they have a pilgrim monument here right next to a bar where I went in and I got a stamp. I got some OJ and a pincho for the road. Now here's a funny observation. I kept seeing the doors in the region that were, the doors and the windows were painted blue, and I kept asking myself why. So I asked a local here and he told me that he helps them keep the bugs away. 11 o'clock in the morning when I said goodbye to this town, and this is where the climbing starts. We're done with La Meseta. This is where it ends, at least the flatlands. From here on, we're gonna start climbing. We're gonna go over a few hills. Up ahead is the mountain range that we had to climb in order to get into Galicia in Ocebreiro. Now here I remember as I was walking by, there was a field of flowers and I was getting a shot, and for the first time I just completely slipped and fell on my ass. It was quite a funny fall right here in this corner. So yeah, we're climbing, nothing too big, making our way up. 11:15 here. This is where I saw the Ciao Amici sign on the ground made out with rocks. And I decided to have the pincho for lunch because it was already 11:30 in the morning as I made it to Santibáñez de Valdeiglesias. And here's where I bump into Francisco, the Brazilian pilgrim that I saw in one of the stages in La Rioja and then didn't see him again. I bumped into him here. He was having coffee with a Korean pilgrim in a bar. I say hi to him and continue on walking. By the way, this is the last village, not the one before, in today's stage before we make it to Astorga. So from here you have about 11 kilometers until you get there. It was 11:34. You make your way down this rural area with cattle ranches. I saw a few cattle on this corner, the calves, the small ones, and got a couple of shots of them. And not far from there, 11:49, something caught me by surprise. Here they have Cruz del Valle and a makeshift like pilgrim, and it was pretty cool, the vibe that this spot had. I had to get a couple of shots with the drone, and as I was getting shots here, Francisco caught up with me and also Francesca from Italy and the Korean pilgrim, and the four of us walked together here following the yellow brick road just for a little bit before I left them behind. And yeah, not far from there, you're walking through all this forest here, and all of a sudden it started drizzling a little bit, so I had to bring out all my rain gear, put it on, and then it stopped. So that was about it. There was a 30% chance of rain for today, and that's all I got. 75% of the way already, so we're almost at Astorga, and here's where I saw that smiling rock on the side of the path before making it to La Casa de los Dioses. Hippie vibe, and they got refreshments here for donation. I got a watermelon just for the road and then continue on. It was almost 1 p.m. already. And this is pretty much the final push to Astorga. We're climbing all the way to El Alto San Toribio, is where the two paths rejoin once again, right next to this Cruzeiro. And from here you get your first views of the cathedral way out in the distance in Astorga. You make your way down, and right here next to this famous pilgrim statue of the guy drinking water, I did the same. It was already 1:20. It's right next to a rest area. You rejoin the main road and you follow it as you enter San Justo de la Vega. I guess this is like a small town. I was welcomed here by a white horse grazing in the pasture here. You have a couple of bars, a hostel, and Iglesia de los Santos Justo y Pastor. And you get to go over the Rio Tuerto by this modern metal bridge right next to the historical one. Here you make a right turn away from the busy roads, which you're gonna follow all the way to Astorga. There's a textile manufacturing plant here that you walk behind it. Just another small polígono industrial, nothing too bad, nothing too big. And up ahead you have a medieval bridge over the Rio Jerga. Just before you enter Astorga, you have to go over the train tracks, and they have a metal overpass that you have to go over. It was 2:05 in the afternoon, And by the way, I remember passing by here on a train from Santiago to Irún on my way to do the Camino del Norte in 2019. So you go over the bridge. I remember bumping to another Brazilian pilgrim, this lady. She was having trouble with her point and shoot camera, and she was asking me to teach her how to use it. So I did that as I was going over this metal bridge and making my way to the town. Now here, as you can see, these are all the stone markers. They're telling you to go in this direction just so that you avoid going over this rail tracks over here. But, you know, you can do either one. It's not a big deal crossing over this. Nothing that we haven't done before. Roundabout just before entering Astorga, and these are the couple of blocks that I told you where you're just going up on a still climb to the municipal albergue. Now, I did not see it because my eye was facing the other way to Iglesia Perpetuo Socorro, right next to this pilgrim statue. So I continue on walking, and I made it to Plaza Mayor, where there was a street fair, a street marker that they was just taking it down already in front of the city hall. I will get back here later on in the afternoon to have dinner. It was already 19 degrees Celsius. Warming up. I loved it. And I just kept following the yellow arrows until I made it to Plaza de Eduardo Castro. Here you have the Palacio Episcopal de Gaudí right next to the Astorga's Cathedral. I was looking for the municipal albergue. I did not know where it was. I guess I kind of looked lost because there was a lady here in the balcony and she told me to go in this direction, that the albergue was a couple of blocks down the line. So I said thank you. And I got there. It was Albergue San Javier. It is not the municipal, it's the private one. But what a great find did I find here. Just an amazing albergue. And I saw a sign for massages, and I booked a 1 hour massage because my feet were killing me. I had a massage, a foot massage in Terradillos de Templarios, the lady that told me about the Via Francígena. And then I had another one here, or the last one, the last massage that I got on the Camino Frances. It was very cloudy, so I knew that my clothes were not gonna dry. So I just took a shower and went out to explore the town. I went to the cathedral, the 15th century cathedral that was built on the site of a Roman church. The two towers were later built in the 17th century, and the front facade of the Arco Central is a Gothic masterpiece. The design was influenced by León's cathedral. I then went on to the Palacio Episcopal de Gaudí, but you do have to pay to go there. It's a museum, and right in front of it is a monument. Pretty cool looking one at that. And then as I was making my way back to the main plaza looking for something to eat, I walked past a pharmacy where I got some blister supply because the kit that I brought from here from Miami, I had run out already. I had a café con leche in this corner over here before having dinner later on in the afternoon in the main plaza. I think I had a pizza and a beer. And then I went on to Synagoga Garden, where you could see from the wall here the views of the plains up ahead. Very cool spot. This is where I stopped vlogging. This is where I called it a day at 7:44 at night. Got some drone shots of both the cathedral, the Palacio, the wall. It's just Astorga. It's just another great town that I highly recommend that you stop, that you take a rest day here. I didn't do it, but now looking back, if I get to do the Camino Frances once again, for sure I'm gonna spend a day here exploring this town. Tomorrow, guys, we're climbing, and we're climbing some more. From now on, it's just going to be like that all the way to Santiago de Compostela. But tomorrow is going to be another great day, another beautiful day. And I guess I'll see you guys on the next video.